Thank you guys. It's good to see everybody. Again, this is, I've said it before, it's kind of like Christmas. Every year we do this. For a basketball junkie like myself, it's always awesome. And you know, I'm really lucky and blessed to have our president, Dr. Foss, here, and it means so much. Him and his wife always support to be here. But I was coming across a quote that really has meant a lot to our time here, and I've got our student athletes are in the back, and they're going to be available for comments and questions afterwards. And they've been such an integral part of it, along with our staff. I've been blessed to have the same staff my entire time here that has invested so much in our student athletes and in this building process. But Jacob Reese wrote, "When nothing seems to help, I look at the stone cutter hammering away at this rock, perhaps 100 times without as much of a crack showing in it. Yet at the 100 in the first blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not that blow that did it, but it was all that had gone before it." And you know, you think about all the things that we've done in building this program and bringing it back to life from when it was on life support 4 years ago when we got here. And you think about rebuilding and reestablishing it. You think about the fact that we've been able to graduate every senior except for one in our 4 years here, that we produced APR scores of 1,000, 946, and an anticipated 980 in our last 3 years. You think that this summer alone, our student athletes, our men's basketball team has invested over 300 hours in community service already this summer, building playgrounds in Algiers, Special Olympics today, all the things that we've been able to do. For these student athletes to do that in the summer, to already have logged 300 hours is an amazing piece, and we're very, very proud of it. And overcome the circumstances that we've been in, that this year will be the first year we'll use all 13 scholarships for the first time in my tenure here. The first time we won't be under academic progress rating practice reduction, academic progress rating game reduction, game penalties. We won't be under recruiting restrictions. We won't have any penalties or restrictions for the first time in our tenure. To be able to come out of that and to keep hammering that rock every day, and for our student athletes and our staff to buy into it every day is a huge step forward for us. And we're not anywhere near where we're going to be, but we're awful proud of where we've gotten to thus far. And we're going to keep swinging that hammer every day to see where it goes. This year's team's really exciting. We got 7 returning lettermen, led by senior and all Southern Conference academic selection, and Metropolitan Westwego native Kevin Hill. He always wants to make sure he's known for Metro Westwego. Algiers native Travis Avery, an honor roll student as well in engineering, are 2 seniors that lead us, along with 5 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 6 freshmen. So we're very, very excited about that. We returned 3 double-figure scores. We got a team that last season picked up another huge non-conference win at Southern Illinois. The year before that, we won at UTEP, which were huge non-conference games for us. We picked up our first postseason victory since 2009, and we're a possession away from the semis. And so we've been working very, very hard in this off-season and summer practices and conditioning, and the guys have been putting in extra time, extra effort, and we will really be able to see some development in these guys, and we're very proud of that. The conference schedule, I think, is very diverse. I think it gives us a big, broad shot at going against mid-major teams that we feel very confident going and competing against. We're going to open up November 14th at Bowling Green and take that trip from there up to Pittsburgh and play Duquesne. We'll open up Thursday, November 19th at home against Pensacola Christian. We'll travel up the day before Thanksgiving to play legendary UNO Coach Ron Maestry's alma mater, Bradley, and then spend Thanksgiving in Chicago and play at Northwestern on Saturday in the Big Ten Network. It's been really important for us to play a Big Ten team each year with the media exposure we get on the Big Ten Network television-wise. And I think it's a good time for our guys to get to play in that environment, and we're excited to play Coach Collins in Northwestern this year. We'll return home for what probably our marquee game in our non-conference schedule on Wednesday, the first Wednesday of December against Tulane. We're excited to have that rivalry back. It's huge for us. It's huge for the city. It's an important game in the history of this city basketball-wise. I was talking about with some former privateers about them playing in the Superdome and thinking back to the days of when Tulane and UNO played in the Superdome. And it's an amazing rivalry, and we're really excited to have that. We'll go to Fogelman, former Fogelman this year, and then we'll return back to here next year, which will be really exciting. We'll go to Ball State that first Saturday in December, come home after finals and play Williams Baptist, take a trip to UMass, and the student athletes are going to get a chance to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame while we're there in Springfield, which will be an exciting trip for us. And then we're going to renew another in-state rival with Louisiana Lafayette on December 21st, which is a huge piece for us to get the Cajuns back on the schedule. We'll go there this year. They'll return to us next year. So our 16-17 schedule already shapes up great. Having 2 home games with Tulane and Lafayette will be huge for us. We'll have a huge Southern Conference slate again, very, very challenging. And then we'll have the Southern Conference tournament and our fight to get to the NCAA tournament. But this is a team that I'm excited about. I think we've got great pieces. Our staff has worked incredibly hard and did an incredible job bringing in great student athletes that are not only just good students, but they're really, really talented players that I think are meshing with what we're doing. And I'm excited for the direction we're going. I appreciate you guys coming out today. And I'll open up for questions from the floor for anybody who's got a question before we go to breakout sessions. Yes.
I got a 2-parter. A Big Ten theme. I love it. You went to East Lansing for Michigan State 2 years ago, Bloomington last year for Indiana. What made you pick Evanston this year for Northwestern? And then also the Tulane UNO rivalry. I mean, as a kid, I went to all those games so many years. Can you give us the whole genesis of how it came back?
Yeah, the Big Ten game, it's important for us, I think, more to play the league. For us, from playing Northwestern, it was a date. Convenience more than anything else. Of the teams that were available that day, we thought that was the best fit for it. I think that their style of play, I try to play a variety of styles of play in the non-conference. You want to play the best people you can, but we want to play a variety of styles of play because I think that prepares us for league play. And they play a pretty unique system with Coach Collins, and they're going to be aggressive defensively, but then they're very, very good offensively, and I think that's going to be a big hit for us. And having 3 days to prepare on the road, just from a team development in and being together during Thanksgiving, I thought was important from a team bonding in. Back to the Tulane game, you go back to we played them my first year here, and we've been trying to play ever since. And I'm glad that it worked out, that we were able to do it. A lot of credit goes to Derek Murrow, our athletic director, for doing the late work on being able to get them back to the table and be able to get them back to play again. I think it's just a huge game for us and for the city. I think when you look at, if I could have played it opening night, I would have played it opening night if we could have, just because I think what a way to start out our year in the city with basketball, of having those 2 teams playing. A lot of things go into a lot of factors, but I'm awful happy to have that game, number one, played when students are in classes, because I think it's a game for the students. Number one, I think it's a game for our city. Secondly, but for our students to be able to get in their cars, get on the bus, and ride over there uptown to play, I think is huge. And then hopefully the next year to return that back to us, I think is a big step forward for college basketball in our city.
Great.
And how about ULL as well, getting them back on the schedule?
Yeah, Coach Marlin, we have such a long history going back to his time at Sam Houston when I was at Northwestern State for 11 years, and we've scrimmaged every year that I've been here, except for one. And so it's important that we have such a good mutual respect and friendship for each other. It was important for us to get them back on the schedule. I know that there's a lot of Sunbelt rivalry back in that goes way back. I think it's important from a UL system that we're both UL system schools and to be able to play. And competitively, I know my president wants us to play that game and wants us to win that game by a lot. So there's a lot of pressure riding on that from my end. So.
And you've had to deal with so many sanctions and kind of making it. Just talk about how tough that was for the program during these last couple of years to rebuild this program and kind of where you are now.
So much of the credit goes solely to our student athletes. When you go back and you think of, we had student athletes, Lavelle Cook from here in town who came and stayed and played, Corey Dixon. You can just go down the line of all these guys that came and wanted to be a part of our building. And they came here knowing they weren't going to be able to play in the postseason. Knowing when we were in independent, knowing they weren't going to be able to play for a championship. You look at at Kevin and Travis's commitment 3 years ago to come here and play for a year or two, knowing that we were just playing our season and that we had to make commitments and steps to do that. And it's amazing to think about that these guys, their character and their commitment to the university and to what we're doing in the big picture vision was huge. And there was a lot of tough days. There was a lot of days that I told our staff, hey, you got to be tough to work here. You got to be tough to build this thing, and you can't ever have a defeated attitude. We had to have an undefeated attitude every day. And I think our student athletes, you can see that in the way they compete and how they've been carrying themselves off the floor, in our commitment to the community, and then in the academic portion as well, in our growth academically in graduating players and fixing our APR issues and moving forward. So it's been a team effort, but it hasn't been an easy one. But we know that the payoff this year and years to come is going to be huge. It's going to be really rewarding and worth every tough day we have.
Are you finding now that it's much easier to recruit, especially in the city, that now you can go to these high schools in the area, which has always been a source of talent here, and attract them?
It's been, doors are opening up a lot more than they were. And I think each year that's gone by, past our issues we had 4 or 5 years ago, each year that passes by, those doors get open bigger. People trust us. They know what we're about. They understand why we do the things we do, the type of student athletes we have, and the doors open. And I think each year we'll have a better and better student athlete that we're going to recruit. But there's definitely doors that we're in now and recruits that we'll be bringing on campus this fall that we couldn't have been involved with 3 and 4 years ago. And that's a good statement to where we are and where we're going. And our student athletes that we have in now, we probably couldn't have been involved with. So our staff has worked incredibly hard. My assistants, all the credit goes to them on staying with it and keep knocking and banging on the door till they got in. And I think you're going to see big jumps in the next 2 years.